Hey, want to support me and my videos? Considering donating to my coffee. Every little bit counts, and those who donate $5 or more will get shoutouts in upcoming videos. A link can be found in the description for those interested. Thank you, and I hope you all enjoy the video. Well, it's been a long time coming, but I think I'm ready to make another MineZ video. Jax and I have everything all recorded, and I think it's time to start editing the footage. Let's see how it all came out. Why does it look like oatmeal? OBS likes to set the bitrate super low as a default, so we had to go back and re-record the locations. But anyways, hello world and all who inhabit it, my name is Minish. It's been a while since the last MineZ video, over a year to be exact, so I think it's time to give a lot of you what you've been waiting for. Instead of hopping into the game with Jax and messing around again, I figure this could be more of an informational video. I've seen people over the years talk about some of the best places to get iron armor and decent weapons in the world of MineZ, but a lot of them are severely outdated, and since the game has had rebuilds and updates, some places may not be as reliable as they once were. So I'm hoping this video can shed some light on where you could potentially go. Whether you're gearing up for a dungeon run, engaging in PvP, or you just want to look cool, these places can get you iron armor in little to no time at all. That being said, most of these places are high-risk, high-reward locations. This means there will be zombie spawners and pigment spawners galore, risk of bandits, or overall super far up north. Technically, you can go anywhere that mill mythic chests spawn, and you can get very lucky finding iron armor in epic chests. So if you'd rather stick to the safer towns, your best bet would be places underground like Barathrum Caverns or Outpost Adara. I've even heard that Real is also really good for iron, but hey, this is more of a you do you kind of thing. We only choose the places on this list because it's insanely reliable to get full iron for a team of 2 quickly, and though the risk is there, if you know what you're doing, it should be relatively easy. We'll start out with the safer towns and get to the scarier locations. Most places will take 1 or 2 loops and camping tips to be able to get full iron, especially with a group of 2 or more. I also would not recommend coming to these places with a big group, unless people know what they're doing. It's easy to trigger spawners and get cornered, as well as a bigger group means you have to farm longer for iron and have to wait longer for chests to respawn. Anyways, let's move on to our first location. Mining Town is relatively close to Alhassa, though it is quite a runaway. If anything, people passing by from floating islands or Axis Mundi might be a bigger problem. On top of that, I've come here several times, and I've had a few encounters with Forsaken. In my honest opinion, if you can avoid fighting them or get them to despawn, Mining Town is a fantastic place to gear up. It does lack food and water, so be sure to bring plenty of food with you and at least 2 water bottles. In the video, we attempt to go to the caves beneath the town where all the mill mythic chests spawn, but I ended up messing up the jumps. Even without going to the caverns below, you can still farm iron if you're super lucky. Jax and I had recorded a few separate times, and though we weren't super lucky with our finds this time, we managed to get some decent armor last time. We stayed at this location for about 5 to 8 minutes, and even without going to the mill mythics, we were lucky enough to get decent iron armor from the epic chests in the houses. Definitely worth coming here if you want to gear up for the giants or the nearby floating islands, and you don't want to deal with the insane amounts of spawners or other people. Castleway Vernia is insane for iron if you have a low number of people. If you're coming here by yourself or with one other friend, finding iron in the higher up chests is almost always guaranteed. Again, most of, if not all, the chests here are mill epics, so it is a gamble on whether or not you find iron, but the last few times we've looted here, we've gotten super lucky. The castle is a bit claustrophobic and a bit easy to get lost in, but all of the good chests are located in the basement and the upper floors and balconies. I also wouldn't recommend staying here too long or farming tips for a very long time if you do decide to stay. Revenants, Forsaken, and Scorchers have a tendency to spawn on the outskirts of town, and if you run, that can have them come barreling inside. Not only that, but Cromir is a short walk away, which is normally infested with bandits. Jax and I stay here for about 7 minutes, and in that time, I was able to get nearly full iron armor from our first run. Again, of course when we go to record, we don't get lucky with our findings. Still, if you don't mind being close to Cromir and would prefer not to get super swarmed by zombies, this may be a good place to go. Anyway, on to the next place. Our third location is Floating Islands, and wouldn't you know, I died both times coming here to record, and it was at the fault of the giant both times. Oh yeah, by the way, there's a giant that spawns on the islands here, just a heads up. Floating Islands isn't really a dungeon, but with all of the trials to get to the top, it might as well be considered one. First and foremost, it's recommended you learn the path or come here with a guide that knows where they're going. The first few islands have pigman zombies and spawners dotted everywhere, and can spell a quick disaster if you aren't knowledgeable in the locations. As you climb up the islands, try to break all the chests that you can manage. Most of them going up are mill epics, but I've gotten lucky finding iron as I head up. Around the halfway point, a giant will spawn on the higher up islands, and if you're not careful, like I wasn't, it could fall from the island and either land on you and cause damage, or straight up kick you off the island and into the void below. Make it past the giant, make a few spooky jumps, climb up the waterfall, and you've made it to the Spire Island. There's lots of pigman spawners here, especially around the pond and the trees, so move quickly, break the chests, and get to the Spire section. There's roughly 10 mill mythics on this island, and most are around the spawners. So long as you have snowballs, you should be good with dealing with them. If you climb down the spire, these chests can sometimes give you feather falling boots. They have low durability, but if you can get iron bars from Laserville, you should have them at full durability in no time. You have to take a different path to get back out, and though we didn't show here, I'd definitely recommend Jay Predictable's video on how to successfully loot this place. It gives you all the information you need and shows you exactly where to go for both paths. I did die here both times, so you'll just have to take my word for it being a great place to loot, especially if you want those fancy feather falling 4 boots. This is the only place on the map to grab them, so better start making your way up here if you want them. Anyways, on to location 2. Our second location is Helltree. This place is absolutely and undeniably hell. Pigmen spawn everywhere, the entire place is a death trap, and you can easily be blasted into lava or nuked by a pigman without even realizing what hit you. So why the hell would you even want to come here? 2 reasons. 1, you have a death wish, or 2, you want a fun, new place to gear up for iron. Once again, you'll have to go based on my good word since we didn't get too lucky in the recording, but the last few times we've come here, we've managed to get in and out with iron pretty quick. I would recommend not coming to this place at night, as the zombie and pigman spawners will be extremely active. Even during the day, the amount of pigmen you'll run into is staggering, so make sure you learn the layout, where the spawners are, and just make a mad dash to the top. We had heard a rumor that spawners were busted at night, but that was definitely not the case. If you value your life, do not come here at night. As we run past, you'll notice that there's little towers that we tried to climb off the main pathway. At the top of the small towers, there's always mill mythics, but again, it's really a toss-up if you get iron or stack of 10 arrows. Definitely not worth it unless you're fast. I'd recommend breaking any and all chests on your way up, as a few of them are actually mill mythics. Once you make it to the top where the actual tree is, there will be chests surrounding the tree and off on little spikes emerging from the corners. Jocks and I like to sit here and farm tips and grab these as much as we can. So long as you're quick on your feet, have a bow or a friend, zombies and pigmen shouldn't be too much of an issue up here. It may take a few runs and luck, but you can usually grab some decent iron, grenades, smite 3 swords, and punch bows while you're looting. In fact, I even had to toss a few of them off because we kept getting so many. Like I said, it's normally a toss-up between getting stacks of arrows, good weapons, or iron, so you just gotta be patient and ride it out. Be careful leaving, as the pigmen still may be here if you leave too early. Make your way back down the way you came, using snowballs to your advantage and diverting the pigmen's attention. And once you cross the bridge, you're home free. Just be careful as you're leaving. Scorchers tend to hang out around the hills just outside the bridge. And finally, for our last location. Our top pick for the best place to get iron is Ignis, and it's my all-time favorite gearing location. We weren't kidding when we said that this list was going to be high risk, high reward. Getting in is scary enough, but looting can be just as dangerous. Be sure to bring at least 2 stacks of snowballs with you, as zombies and pigmen can make this place a real headache if you're not careful. There's multiple ways to get in, but the safest I found is the entrance through the ruined wall where the waterfall is. There's a few pigmen spawners here, but be quick, use snowballs, and climb up into the sewers. Take the path we use here in the beginning, and you can make it quickly to the area where all the epic and mill mythics are. Be careful though, because as you make your way in, pigmen and zombies will start to spawn beneath you and can easily access the area you'll be looting. Remember your snowballs. Once the pigmen are taken care of, you can begin looting. I'd recommend coming here alone or with a small group no larger than 4. We stuck together to avoid a lot of zombie spawning, but if you're confident splitting off, that may be more viable for you and your group. What I like to do is I'll enter a house, close the door behind me, and loot the chests in there. It'll slow down any zombies chasing you and can give you a few seconds to prepare before they come crashing in. Also, do your best to avoid the parks and gardens, as zombie and pigmen spawners are beneath them. Forsaken and Revenants also have been known to spawn on top of the roofs, so be prepared for a scary fight in close quarters if they do appear. Like Helltree and Floating Islands, this place gets scary at night. I usually go right in as morning starts, loot during the day, and get right out of there before night starts to fall. Alternatively, if you don't want to leave the entire location, you can come back the way you entered and chill in the sewers for a bit. Or you can find a safe location in a house far away from the spawners and wait there until morning. We came here with 3 people, and in just over 8 minutes, we all nearly had full durability iron. Ignis can be scary if you don't know what you're doing, and there is a good chance you'll get overwhelmed by the pigmen. But so long as you know where you're going, have snowballs, and loot quickly, you should be fine. Ignis is relatively far up north, and because of that, it's pretty safe from other players. Be sure to stock up on food, potions, and water before heading up there, as it's a long trek through the jungles. And there you have it, friends! My favorite location to farm iron in MineZ. There may be better places out there that I didn't list, and if they work for you, that's totally fair. These are just ones that personally work for me and my friends whenever we need a quick gear up location. If you don't mind the high risk of these locations and are confident in your abilities to take care of pigmen and zombies, these are great places for getting iron quickly and efficiently. All these places are relatively close to dungeons, giants, and Alhassa, so you can gear up and get ready for dungeons, PvP, or whatever else your heart desires. Sorry for taking so long with another MineZ video. Between life being very chaotic and busy, to not having recorded the best footage beforehand, this video's been a while in the making. I do hope you guys enjoy it, and maybe you found a new place to loot. Keep an eye out for more MineZ videos in the future, too. I for sure want to make a newbie's guide to the game, and maybe even some quest and dungeon attempts, but we'll see what the future holds. If you're interested in seeing my other videos, I'm going to be playing through the Jak and Daxter games very soon. My friend Seth and I have also raced through Pokemon Mystery Dungeon recently, too. And if neither of those are your thing, I also have an old MineZ video that has gotten relatively popular. Maybe you guys will like it. Take a peek, maybe it's something you guys will enjoy. As always, thank you all for watching. If you want to see more, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. My coffee is also in the description for anyone that wants to leave a tip or donate. Anybody that leaves $5 or more will get a shout out at the beginning of a video. Anyways, have fun gearing up, and as always, stay kind to each other.